When you walk into your favorite casino or poker room and scan the tables, do you know what you're looking for? How do you know which seat is profitable and which is not? Here's a list of questions to help you find that perfect, well-paying seat. 1. How good are the players? Look for a game in which at least a few of the participants appear to be relatively poor players. If you see a table filled with men you know to be good players, without even one or two potential weak spots, just continue looking for a seat elsewhere. 2. Is the table even worth your time? Occasionally, a seat is unlikely to be profitable because the table as a whole lacks sufficient funds. If everyone or almost everyone is playing with short stacks, the rake will likely consume all of your expected profit. As a general rule, you want 3 or 4 players to have stacks of at least 100 big blinds and the majority of the remaining players to have stacks of at least 50 big blinds. Therefore, if you see a table with a large number of stacks worth less than $100, even if you believe the majority of the players to be poor, you should be inclined to look elsewhere. 3. Is there activity? Just a few hands are typically sufficient to determine whether the game is lively or a rock garden. Are all players folding before the flop? Do most players call a pre-flop raise? Are some at least occasionally willing to take risks? 4. Is the vacant seat located to the left of one of the large stacks? Money flows clockwise around the table. A player on your right is more likely to give you money than a player on your left. With the large stack on your right, you typically have the first shot at his large stack. Therefore, an empty seat to the left of a large stack should be more inviting than an empty seat to the right of the large stack. A top player can make money regardless of the action level of the game. In general, however, your ideal game consists of a large number of loose and passive players who check and call frequently. A few hands should provide sufficient information to estimate the nature of the game. The best and quickest indicator of this is the number of players still in the hand for the turn and river. If there are few, if any, loose gamblers at the table and it is always heads up, or if hands rarely even reach the turn, this is a sign that there are few loose gamblers. 5. Where is the seat in relation to the aggressive and deceptive players? Sitting to the left of tricky, loose, and aggressive players is optimal, assuming the table as a whole is acceptable. Before deciding to enter the pot and before deciding how to play your hand, you want to have the advantage of observing their behavior. Before deciding whether or not to play your hand, you are better able to consider the action of an active, aggressive player seated to your right. For example, similarly, you would prefer not to have him on your left, lest you face a raise or re-raise from him after you have already entered the pot. 6. Are players generally enjoying themselves? It is much more likely that you will win money if other players are having fun. If players appear gloomy and solemn, this is not a good sign. You should look for laughter, possibly some drinking. These indicate that the players are playing poker more for fun than for a living. A few more things to look out for are: how quick is the game's pace? If there are any extremely drunk players in the game, the action may be significantly slowed, thereby reducing the number of hands per hour in which you can win money. Does the big stack appear to be preparing to depart? If he does so, the game's quality may suffer significantly. Has the large stack quit gambling? Sometimes, after winning a large sum of money, the player may choose to sit on their profits. If he is not taking any action, his large stack is not a viable target, and you may be better off looking elsewhere. Is it likely that the game will end soon? If it is already short-handed and 1 or 2 players appear to be leaving, you may be better off elsewhere. To finalize, many of these concerns also apply when playing poker online. Choosing the best seat does not guarantee victory, of course, but selecting the incorrect seat can severely hinder your chances of winning. Before you take a seat, you should, if possible, assess the profitability of the available seats for at least a few minutes. Then, even after you are seated, periodically monitor the other games to determine whether a profitable move is possible. Thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I tried to go into more detail this time. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate your time and encouragement.